Hello everyone, my name is Akshay and today I am sharing my presentation about day 13's challenge from IDC, and today's topics are about data structures like stacks, queues, implementation with lists, and the challenge is to implement a stack with push, pop and pick. Okay, so you can consider this diagram here. You can look at the diagram that I have one for stack, one for queue. So this is how a stack looks like. It looks like a empty vessel. So here I am pushing my elements 1 and 2, and I am removing the element 2 first and then 1 at the last. And in queue, so if I am pushing the element 1 at the first, then I have to remove 1 at the first, okay, and the last element will be removed at the end. So this is another representation of my stack and queue. So here insertion and deletion happens on the same end on stack. You can see here I can push the elements from one end and I have to remove it from the same end. This process is called last in and first out. And in queue, insertion and deletion happens on different ends. So here you can see my NQ is happening at one end and DQ is happening at another end. So this is nothing but insertion and deletion, okay, but here I am calling it with the different names. So here insertion happens from the rear end and the deletion happens from the front end, and this process is called first in and first out. So let's look at some differences. Here in stack and queue, the order in stack is last in and first out, and in queue it's going to be first in and first out. And insertion operation in stack, it's going to be push, usually done using append operation, okay, and in queue, NQ, usually done using append operation. So we use the same operation on the both ends. And remove operations happens in stack, it's going to be pop, removed from end, and in queue it's going to be removed from front. And access, only the top element is accessible in stack, and here only the front element is accessible in queue. And use cases, here we use stack in undo feature, backtracking and recursion, and we use queue in task scheduling, printer queue and messaging. And end of operation happens here, insertion and removal happens at the same end, and in queue insertion happens at rear end and removal happens from the front end. Okay, so let's look at some examples. So here I have my list. My list is empty at the beginning, and I'll be appending my elements A, B and C using the append function. So if I do that, my output or now my list has A, B and C elements, okay, and if I remove the if I try to remove the element from my list, that is stack, then first it will be removed C, and next I will be removing B, and next I will be removing A. Now my stack is empty because I have removed C, B and A. Okay, so now we'll look at implementation of stack using DQ. Okay, so I am importing my DQ from collections. So let's look at my different functions that is allowed in stack, okay, that is with DQ function. So here I can add, copy, okay, so these are the append. These are the different functionalities that are available. I can clear also. So okay, these are the different functionality that are available with stack. And when I append my A, B, C, D to my stack, if I run this, so this is my DQ that with A, B, C, D. Okay, if I try to remove, the first one will be D. Okay, now you can look at my stack. Now it has only A, B and C because D is removed. Okay, so let's look at a example with a class. I have my class stack with different functions. Okay, push, pop, peek, and to check if it is empty and the size. Okay, I'll run this. So now I'm considering S equal to stack. If I push E, then I will check if this stack is empty. Okay, here it says false because I have my E element in my stack. Okay, and if I want to check peek, it will be E. Okay, so I have only this one as in my stack, so that's why it is showing. And if I remove this, now it's gonna be empty. Now you can see that S dot is empty will be, wait, okay, I'll run it again. It's taking some time. So this is the basic use of a stack where we can do the insertion from one end, and we have to do the removing of the element from the same end. So yeah, see, now it says that pop from an empty DQ. Okay, so here as I removed E, there is nothing left in my stack, so that's why it's showing like that. If I check is empty, now it will say true because my stack is empty. Okay, now I'll push different elements 9, 32, 34, 78 and 12. Okay, if I want to check peek, it will be 12 because this is at the top. If I remove, then it will be 12. Okay, if I remove one more, then it's gonna be 78. Okay, if I remove the next one, it should be 34 and then 9. Okay, yeah, 34 and then 9. If I do it one more time, then it will show that it will show error like this, the DQ is empty. Okay, so let's come to Q. Here I have my empty list. I'm inserting different values. These are stock prices with 131, 132 and 135. So if I check for my stack, I have inserted my values in this stack. Okay, so here you can see that my last in is here, this cell value is here, second value is here, the last value is here. Okay, if I want to remove, the first element will be this one, the one which is inserted at the first. Okay, if I check, now only 2 are left because this one is removed. If I remove it again, then the second one, third one, now it will show empty. Yeah. So now using collections.dq as a queue, okay, if I append different values, this is 10, 8, 5, 5 is removed, dot 8 is removed, now 10 is removed, now it should show an empty one. Yeah. So implementing queue class using a collection dq. Okay, I have my class called queue and I am importing dq. I am importing collection. From collection I am importing dq. Okay, so if I want to check the different operations, so here I have my, in my dictionary I have my company name Walmart, timestamp, and then price. Okay, if I do the buffer, so this is what my dq has. If I want to check the size, here it has 3 company details. Yeah, I removed the last one. Okay, I'm sorry, the first one. The first one was Walmart in the 15th 131. Yeah, and now look at the challenge. The challenge is to implement a stack with push, pop, and peek. Okay, so here the push is to add items to top of the stack, and pop is to remove and return top item, and peek is to return top item without removing. Okay, and is empty is to check if the stack is empty, and display to show the entire stack. So this is my program. You can see that I have my class stack. Okay, I have my init function, push, pop, peek, check if is empty, and display. Okay, and here I am inserting my values 10, 20, 30 at the beginning, and here what I will do is I'll display it once, and then I'll use my peek and then pop and then peek to display the values. See, at the beginning you can see my values are pushed 10, push 20, and push 30. Okay, this is my stack that is with value 10, 20, 30, and at the top of the stack I have my 30 and then popped 30. Now I will remove 30, and at the top of this, because I am using peek, okay, here if I remove the 30, then my peak value will be 20, and the current value is 10 and 20. So this is my presentation about stack and dq. So kindly share your valuable feedback, and if you have anything to share with me, so just comment below and share your reviews. And if you really like my presentation, then just like the presentation and share your valuable feedback, and I am open for collaboration with any kind of opportunities. So thank you so much for your time and have a good day ahead.